Hello, everyone. So this is week 11, no, week 10 and 9 update of my 3-month experiment with Divine Truth and volunteering at God's Way in Milksdale. For the past 3 weeks, have been in Sydney. So I have decided that I am actually going to extend this put another 3 weeks onto the end of it. So it's going to actually go for 15 weeks rather than 12 weeks. The videos that I want to share on. But to recap on my time in Sydney, I know that there were parts of me that wanted to actually just escape and not be here anymore and get out. And, there were some of those reasons as to why I went back to Sydney. So I did go to Sydney for work. So I used to live in Sydney. I have recognized that I couldn't live there anymore. And there were some reasons of wanting to avoid looking at more things here as to why I went there. However, in saying that, it's actually been really, I feel like it's been really insightful, really, really insightful in terms of, I guess just being able to see the progress that I feel like I've made here in the 7 weeks that I was here prior, rather than in the past, I've only come for, I guess, like 2 weeks at a time, or, 3 like volunteer days over 2 weeks or something like that. And the teachings and the learnings didn't feel like they really stuck. Whereas this time when I got to Sydney, since kind of coming back to Sydney, even being in Sydney, I really, first and foremost, could notice how much more sensitive to spirit influence I actually was. I could recognize the spirit influence, and I've talked about this in some of the videos that I've made. It was hugely powerful. But then also on top of that, I got to, I feel like I got to integrate some of the things that I learnt here. And what I mean by that, and Jesus and Mary actually speak about this in, the talks that they're doing. They're over in the US at the moment, and they're talking about how in some of the assistance groups, they've noticed from past experiences with the assistance groups, people have needed a day or two to kind of basically integrate all the information. Like they need a break because they're so saturated with all the information that they actually can't take any more in. And I feel like my trip to Sydney was actually that for me. Is like I felt like I was so saturated. It just really, I feel like it really helped me to integrate all of the stuff that I learnt here, and to recognize how things were really in my soul. Because I feel like before leaving, I actually was getting to a point where I couldn't see that. And because I couldn't see that, I feel like I was berating myself and punishing or putting pressure on myself to do better and be more humble and be more sincere. And I don't feel like that was the truth. I feel like it was just a way of me actually punishing myself and suppressing myself, rather than out of fear of being judged. I would also say, like, I've had, since being here, I feel like I've really struggled to be me, who I feel myself to be. And so I've noticed that I've just sort of conformed with everyone else who's already been here for a very long time. There's regular people who have been here for majority of the people here have been here for, a good, like, some have been here for 10 years, some a little bit longer, some have been here for 5 years, like a good period of time. And so I felt like I needed to conform to how, everyone around me lives. And this is what I do in my life, is in order for me to feel, not feel the terror of being rejected and ostracized and unloved. I will mold myself to how I think I need to be in order to fit in. And that's what I did. And I noticed that that's, just, I guess, being away. And also I've been terrified of receiving, truth of, if I was to really be myself, someone, telling me truth about that I feel like I couldn't handle, which, isn't true, of course. I can handle it, but they're the feelings that I've had. So, yeah, it's just felt great to go and take what I have learnt into my past living situation to see the point of difference, and to really, I guess, to really see myself, because prior to that I didn't feel like I was really seeing myself. Plus also to reconnect to these parts of myself that I feel are really true, these parts of myself that I love. And I love doing some of the work pieces that I do so much that I haven't been doing whilst being here. And I I really forgot how much I love doing these things, and I love doing these parts of myself. I sort of threw that out, and Jesus talks about this as well, about not chucking the baby out with the bathwater, is like, throw the bathwater out, which is X amount of years of sin that we have, but don't throw the baby out. And that's what I did when I first arrived here. And I feel like I've just sort of come back with more of a feeling of, like, being able to see myself more clearly, being able to see the progress that I feel like I have made and am making, and what I'm choosing. I was judging myself a lot prior to leaving about the choices that I was making, and it not, me not being sincere enough or genuine enough. And also just that feeling like it's okay for me to be me and be different. And I feel like that's definitely still a journey, still a big one, that I'm going to be working on. Within that, I feel like I've also come back with this. So Sydney felt like it was just this really great big integration, 3 weeks of integrating everything that I feel like I've learnt. Jesus talks about how in the assistance groups, I can't remember whether I said this or not, but in the assistant groups that he used to do, they used to have to, people have to have, like, generally have had, he's noticed they have to have a break after like a couple of days or 3 days or whatever, because it's just, they're saturated with information. They just don't take any more in. And so no more changes in the heart actually occur, or are less likely to occur, because they're so saturated with information. And that's what I really felt my experience was of going back to Sydney. And yeah, it feels really good to be back. I feel a lot more it's like I'd forgotten the things that I'm passionate about, and now that I went to actually engage in those things, it feels like I have remembered that it's okay to be passionate about what I'm passionate about, and to explore my passions, and just to keep following those as well. And that's what I was really missing prior to being here. Yeah, I was just really wronging what I was doing. And also it's shifted and it's changed as well, which feels exciting because it feels like a brand new pathway. One of my great passions is really seeing how much by following what I've been passionate about connects into the health of me, and I guess on a principle level, maybe, I'm not too sure exactly how to explain this, but on a soul level, when we follow what we're passionate about, it's our soul, it's like we're engaging this real part of ourself and our soul, which then obviously impacts the health of our spirit body and our physical body and our emotional body and our mental body, and every single facet of ourselves. And that's what I love, is that I love really seeing how when I engage what I so passionately love, and it's like I'm still exploring what that is. I feel like that's an endless path of exploration for me. It just never stops, and it's so exciting. But how much that actually feeds the health and vitality and aliveness of all of me, my soul, my physical body, my spirit body, my just all of me. So that's been, I feel like the crux of what I've done my entire life. How that just really, it started out as a way of, I guess, me healing myself, which wasn't my intention, but looking back on my whole life, it's just, I've loved following what I'm so passionate about, and I love, following what I'm curious about, and being able to experience it through the senses, through this human body or vessel, on such a sensational level, to really feel it so fully. So I've got some things that I have planned in terms of what that then opens up. And I guess it just feels, like going to Sydney, I was questioning whether or not it was the right thing to do, and I was berating myself for even wanting to do that, and for choosing something that felt sinful and all of the things. But it also has really, I feel like it really has been such a gift in terms of reminding me of things that actually do feel really true for me. And it's like these parts of myself that I feel like I had thrown out and forgotten, and what I love to do so much. So that feels really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to, I guess, sort of the first 7 weeks felt like I was really just I'd tipped myself upside down, and I didn't know who I was or what was going on. It was really like challenging. It's like I had to upheaval everything, and I'm not saying that that's over by any means. I just feel like now coming back, it feels different, and it feels a lot more solid, and it just feels like a new next phase, I guess you could say. And something that I feel like with this whole entire journey of being here is I actually feel like I have, I guess I had feelings that I was judging myself for where I was career wise, and because it sort of felt like I chucked everything away. But what it actually feels like is that I feel like I've been reborn, and I feel like I'm just like starting all over again in terms of what life I want to live. That's actually what it really feels like. And that, yeah, I feel like almost like a little 5-year-old girl exploring the world again, being like, oh, well, what do I want to choose for my future? What things do I love to do? Just exploring all of these things again. And something that Jesus said recently about like how as parents, he was talking about mothers specifically, we can, I say we, I'm not a mother, but how, as mothers, when women become mothers, that becomes their identity, and they get to the spirit world, and you've got, these mothers who are like undiscovered scientists or mathematicians or, all of these cool things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah. I like, how exciting is it that I get to now go and explore all these things. I felt like there was so much pressure on myself that I placed, as well as, it coming from elsewhere, for me to sort of have a career that looked like a certain thing. But now I'm like, my gosh, what if I'm a scientist? Or what if I'm, what if I'm this? Or what if I'm that? Or what if I'm, just, it's like the whole world has opened up in a brand new way. So it feels good to allow myself to embrace exploring the fields and the avenues that I have actually really felt very, very curious about and passionate about and excited to follow. One of the other things that Jesus was saying is how he's done X amount of jobs throughout his life, and I think he said like one of them was property development, and he loved certain things about it, but then there were other things that he didn't love about it. So it's like it reflected back to him parts, like it really showed him more of his real self through what the things were that he did in that he was passionate about. And that's actually been very much my journey as well. I've done so many different jobs, and I haven't, like, there have been parts of all these jobs that I've done that I've actually really, really like loved so much. That's really reflected back these parts of my real self, I feel, that, yeah, I guess got me to the stage of what I was passionate about and what I felt passionate about, that I felt like I threw away prior to actually heading to Sydney. So yeah, it just feels really good to have gone away, integrated, been able to really see myself for how much I've progressed, and also the sin and the addictions that I'm still choosing, and where I'm actually at. And just, I feel it's just allowed a lot more acceptance, and yeah, just a lot more acceptance and embracing where I'm at in my life again. Yeah, so, all right, that's my update. And yeah, I feel like, just to really emphasize, there was a really a patch there where I just thought that it would never get better. And it felt like hell. I was like, if this is what it's like, when does it get better? It feels like hell. I'm never going to get out of this. When does the good stuff come? And I'm not saying that that's by any means over, but that definitely was a very, very real part of the first part of my journey with this. So, yeah, but I feel that was very needed, and I feel like parts of that have passed, and I do feel a lot better. And I'm sure there's more parts to come in a different way. So, but I just wanted to share that because I feel like this is, I guess, maybe one of the first very few times that I've been able to say, things feel good for now. Like, things actually feel really positive, and hopeful is probably the word that I would use. Really, like, yeah, really hopeful. Yeah. All right.